Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today's episode on the property, I am going to be building a very large deck platform for a hot tent and many other things. In the last episode, I mentioned that this would be coming. I didn't expect it to be coming this quick, but all of the lumber is here. I've got some rough cut lumber 2x8s that I've got to knock off to 16 foot. And then I got some pressure treated deck boards, which are off to the side as well. And it's raining, so this is going to be interesting. So I've got the giant awning out, so this is going to be at the workspace for the day, I guess. I've got the generator because I'm going to be using that for multiple things, but mainly I'm going to be drilling or screwing the deck together. Sorry, I'm not going to be nailing it together. I'm going to go screws this time. If you guys were tuned into the last off-grid property that I did, everything was done in nails, and it made it a little bit difficult to modify things. You have to knock the nails out and all that. With the screws, it's going to make it super easy to add onto the deck or replace boards, whatever needs to be done. So I do have a cordless drill and I have a corded drill. This is going to be our charging method for the day, and using the chainsaw to cut all the lumber. No circular saw, no chop saw, so keeping it very simple. As we all have chainsaws, it's just simple that way. So I'm going to get a little bit more tools out. Like I said, it is currently raining, but we're just going to do this anyways. I'm going to drag some of the 2x8s over towards where I'm building the deck, measure them, cut them, tack a square together, and then go from there and kind of give you guys a look at what I'm doing and how I'm doing this. And let's just have some fun with it. Alright guys, I've got my lumber ends squared off because keep in mind this is rough cut lumber. Nothing is squared off on the ends, and these aren't actually 16 feet. Some of them are 17, 17 and a quarter, so on and so forth. The deck top I want to be 16 by 16. we're going to do a little bit of an overhang on those boards. So just doing up the calculations here, 16 feet times 12 inches is 192 inches. Subtract the thickness of these, which is almost just shy of 2 inches thick. So if we subtract 4 inches off of that, that'll give us a 188 for the 2x8s to butt up to compensate for the thickness. That way it's not too long for the deck boards. Well, I do want an overhang on the ends a little bit and a little bit on the sides. So I'm actually going to do 184 on 2 of these stringers, and then the other 2 are going to be a 16, which will give us what I'm looking for the actual dimensions. So I'm just gonna, now that these are marked off or squared up, I can actually take 2 measurements for my inside 2x8s, and then the end cap 2x8s will just be the regular length. So I'm going to get this marked, measured, cut, and then haul them over towards where I'm going to be building this. And I do not have footings. I do not have anything other than logs. So I'm going to be taking some of these big round logs that I've cut, and I've left them in 3 or 4 foot sections, and literally just going to put them on the triangle of where the deck's going to go underneath, and the deck's going to get built on top. It's only a platform. It's easy to come back tomorrow or the next day and lift it and level it out with a level. The main thing is to get it square so we can get the deck boards on there nice and square. And then, like I said, it can be lifted and jacked and leveled tomorrow, another day, maybe later today, because the ground is really uneven, and with the rain, I just want to get it built. So I want to mark this, measure, and start hauling some lumber. Alright guys, so I've got my stringers and plates basically lined out of where it's going to go. I now have to get logs and place them in the corners roughly where these are going to be joined together. So I've got 4 of them ready to go. We'll get them in the corners and then get them laid up on the logs and basically fire the generator up, start tacking some of these together and look at where it sits, how level or how off level it's going to be. Which again isn't a concern today. I can level it out, but I want to get it close. I don't want to slant it all over the place. and then square it up. That's the most important part. Get it nice and square, and then start running the other stringers in there. Now I am going to be putting joist hangers on here. I don't have them here right now. So what I'm going to do is screw in all of these 2x8s and then get everything situated for the decking boards. Go and grab the joist hangers, come back, install the joist hangers, and then continue finishing the deck. Alright guys, so I've got my screws here. These are number 10 5-inch long. These are very nice screws actually. So these are going to go really far into the wood, holding this together really securely. I'm going to be doing 3 screws per tack. So on every 2x8 there'll be 3 in there. Plus we're going to be doing joist hangers as well later on in the day. So what I'm going to do is just get this tacked together. I've got my driver here. Make sure that that's a Robinson 2, and it is. Fully charged. This is going to go hopefully rather easy. It's really difficult with one person, but basically if I stage my screws here, and like I said, we cut this at 184, and I went with 192, so a true 16 foot, because that's going to be the sides, so the deck board hangs over the edge, which I want it to. That's perfect. I also want to hang over on the head and tail end, which is why this is 184, taken up for the thickness of this board, the other board, still giving us a little bit of an overhang. So, like I said, this is going to get leveled out later on, not right now, so it is far from level. Getting these screws started and getting the main frame started is always the tricky part by yourself. So I recommend starting your screws. This is what I'm going to do. Not in a knot. And then we'll be able to tack it together and slowly get the skeleton of this to come together. This is going to be really difficult to get started with one person. First board is going to be the hardest. Ugh. Please scream at your TV screen with frustration while I do this. Okay. Hold that there. Tack this in. While holding it flush. Ow. Okay, so that's one in there. Go to this end, move it out. basically I've got the frame somewhat ready here. It is squared up, everything's screwed and tacked together, and I've gone ahead and started just the top screw on either end of these 3 joists. To get these up here by myself, there are many different methods of doing this. What I'm going to do, I've already marked center of where all these need to go. 3 of them are squared and cut to length. Like I said, 1 screw in the end. There's all kinds of ways and tricks to do this. I'm not on level ground, and I'm not going to go pounding in nails to hold things up. It's ridiculous. I'm just simply going to lift this joist up, square it off, and drive that screw in just a bit. And when I go to the other end, same thing. And then once it's up, I can then come back and sink the rest and make sure everything is flush. So just tack that in like that. That's level. Go to the other end, tack that, and then come back and put the other 2 in both sides, and then continue on. Alright guys, I've got all these joists put into place, and this is a perfect opportunity for me to show why I'm going to do what I'm going to do next. Look at the deck. The whole thing is moving. Now that's without deck boards, but it needs to be reinforced. So I'm not doing any kind of footing on this deck, and it's not exactly level right now, but it needs some support underneath. I've looked at the deck, I've put a board across it, and kind of looked down at it just by eye, looking at how far off level is it. It's not far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do this next step. And basically I'm taking off the offcuts of this 2x6, placing it on the ground as a footprint, and then I'm going to take another piece, screw it to the side, down. So that's going to give me a good footing. And I actually have a couple of tree stumps. This one right here, I'll bring you guys in for a closer look at what I'm going to do. But basically this tree stump, when I cut this tree, I cut it tall on purpose because I knew that this was going to be somewhere near the center of the deck. And that would be a good, really solid footing for this entire deck. We're going to have every single joist is going to have some kind of support. That's not only going to hold it from going down, but it's also going to hold it from moving forwards and backwards and shimmying around. And then once the deck boards are put on, that's really going to lock everything together. So let's get this first one tacked in here, and then we'll go ahead and do the rest. I'm going to use this piece of 2x6 for all these vertical pieces because this one actually has a very big crack in it, and it's not going to be good use for anything else. So let's continue working in this rain. bent that screw. I'm using an impact driver to put these screws in just to help it along, but the vibration and with the rain, these bits are popping out like crazy. That one's gonna have to stay just like that. Alright guys, so as you can see, the deck is not finished. It looks finished, but it's not. I'm actually running short 2 boards on the back side. Other than that, pretty successful day today, and it is no longer raining. So Flint's outside again. He just ate. He's super hyper right now and playful. The deck is very strong. It's sturdy. It's not shaking or creaking or anything like that. Obviously big butts up here and it's holding him. Everything looks really good. So these logs I'm going to leave right just the way they are right now. They're a little long. I'm going to play around with that because I may do a step to get up on the deck, incorporating those logs. If not, I'll just cut them off nice and kind of flush so I can walk around the deck and not trip on them. But that is it for this episode. Next episode, you'll see the deck totally finished, and we will be setting up a giant hot tent up here with a wood stove. A very nice, large hot tent, a permanent hot tent. So that will be in the next episode. I've got a few things around here to clean up. I do have a ton of 2x8s left over as well, because this is rough cut lumber and it's thick, it's really strong and durable. So I actually changed up my plans on how I built the deck, and I've got a ton of 2x8s left over. That got me thinking, I need to build another deck and put a big workshop on top of it. So that's going to be coming up too, as well as 2 or 3 really interesting projects that I have planned out here before the snow flies. So Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. The deck is basically done, and I'll see you guys in the next one.